And I'm Ernie.
And this is Budget Nerds live.
Oh, we don't have the intro.
We don't have the intro.
You usually do a little tune here, though, Ben.
Right? Yeah, I do a little dance there. But you guys don't see it because the intro goes over. So, yeah, we are live for the very first time.
Wait. I didn't finish it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
You are not alone.
No, you are not. All right.
Here
Hey, we did
go.
that first try. Usually when we're recording, we mess it up a few times because we're just giggling or something. I don't know.
But we would have had to do that one over because we didn't even account for that cool animation that Tristan made.
I know, we didn't even think about it. Oh, man. Well, I'm so glad to see you guys and to actually get to talk to you all live. This is so cool. Why don't you let us know where you're listening from and tell us how long you've been listening to Budget Nerds. Is this your first time? Do you even know what Budget Nerds is? You're like, what the heck is this? I'm subscribed, but I don't know what this is. Let us know. I see Michael says, hi, Ben and Ernie. I love to see it. Let's live stream. It said, it is all in your mind. There you go. Michael in Edinburgh.
From Mesa. All right, about a year listening to Budget Nerds since day one. JCL.
Since day one. I'm very sorry that you had to see our like screen capture of Zoom. Come a long way.
Hey, Lucas, welcome.
We got Ricky in Puerto Rico listening about a month. All right, welcome, Ricky. Love to see that.
Hi, Joanna. Yeah, I see
Jeff's
Joanna
wife,
all the time over
Jeff.
on the Facebook fans group.
Oh, yeah. Hey, good to see you. We got Jeff's wife, not Jeff, over in Utah. So
okay.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We can put people's comments up on the screen. We're in StreamYard.
Yeah. You got Ian in Ontario since the beginning. Love to see it. Another Texan. Welcome back from Houston, Texas. Love to see that.
Karen from Michigan. Hi, Karen. Been watching for over a year. Karen, I'm in the Midwest. I'm in Wisconsin. I don't know if all this snow is coming your way, but we're on the verge of like 20 inches right now.
Ooh. Yeah, that's scary. That's not good. I think we're here in Virginia, I think we're escaping the whole winter with no snow. I'm pretty
Crazy.
Sure. We haven't had a lick of snow. Like maybe like some flurries, but yeah, nothing. All right, Karen from Michigan, welcome. Justin from Indianapolis, love to see it. I feel like we have a pretty good contingent from the Netherlands. I see Sabina from the Netherlands. I feel like I see a lot of YNABers coming in from the Netherlands. So
interesting.
I don't know. Maybe we got like a power user there who's just telling everybody.
Who are you?
Love to see it. My wife's family's from the Netherlands, so near and dear to my heart. Love to see that. All right, yeah. Look at this. It's really flying in now. Florida, Washington State, North
Elizabeth,
Carolina,
Virginia Beach.
Love to see it.
Out in your neck of the woods there.
We don't really have a plan for today. Like we don't have a topic. It's you guys are telling us the topic.
Yeah.
So why don't we just jump into some questions? So if you guys have any questions, please leave a comment. If you already left a comment with a question, you might want to send it again because you know how comments go. It's hard to see. So yeah, and try to keep your comments like broad. Like if it's like really specific about your budget, it might be a little hard to answer here. So we might send you to support. But yeah, let's just get nerdy and let's talk about stuff. We did ask if any of you guys listened to the podcast, we had like a 2-minute episode announcing the live, and we asked people to send questions over email. I also asked in the fans group on Facebook for some questions. So we have some in the hopper. Should we jump over to there, Ernie?
Yeah, let's do that. Those should spark something as well.
Okay, I think this is a good one to start with. Bree asks over in the fans group on Facebook, how to switch your mindset from expense tracking with YNAB to actually YNABing with YNAB. Yes, it's a verb now. Okay. Yeah, how do you go? Like a lot of folks do this, like they feel like they're just kind of tracking, moving money around and not really budgeting ahead of time. So how do you change your mindset from there?
The key for me was only spending money that I actually have. And so to do that, I had to get in the habit of checking the budget before I spent.
Yeah.
And that changed everything for me, because if the money was there, then I knew, oh, okay, I can buy this thing and then I still have money for the other bills coming up until I get paid again. But if I didn't have the money, then I had a choice to make. And by looking at the budget, I could consider everything at once. And that was just so helpful. And so I noticed the needle started to move once I really, every time before I spend, do I have the money in the budget?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely the first thing is check the money, check the budget first, before you spend is key. Because otherwise, you just kind of spend and then you have to rule three later. Another thing I see from a lot of folks who feel like they're just expense tracking is they're not following rule one. They have like a big amount of money hanging out and ready to assign at the top and they haven't really given it a job. And so you kind of have this big pool of money, and maybe you're not being specific enough too. So because you have this big pool of money, you can kind of always be hand wavy about your spending.
Sure.
Because you can always cover it from that pool of money. So that might be something to consider too. But yeah, good question, because I think that's a big problem folks run into at first. And I don't think it's a bad thing either. Like if you just get started with just tracking for first few months, great actually, because that's a lot more than most folks do, and you'll get a lot of insight just from that. So
that is true. A lot of insight. It's a huge first step.
Yeah, so nothing wrong with that. Oh my goodness. Okay, there's tons of questions coming in. This is great. I was a little worried like we weren't going to get a lot of questions, but like we have tons coming in.
Okay, I got to bring this one up.
Okay.
I'm hesitant to.
Okay, here we go.
But how do you guys feel about Jesse's debit card versus credit cards debate? He's going hard against credit cards. I love Jesse's experiments. I have been behind him on every single experiment that he's ever done. I think they're the coolest thing. And I think this is a really good one, because I've always wanted to do this myself, but I haven't been able to. I am so emotionally attached to credit cards.
It's like an emotional thing. You feel
I cannot let go of them. I can't.
And we're talking because of rewards, or like
it is
because
it is
like
absolutely
nostalgia.
It is rewards. It is rewards 100%. And I can't let go of it. I don't know. I mean, we're talking about a payment method here. A payment method.
Right.
And I'm up in arms over, do I use my debit card? Do I use my credit card? And if I use my debit card, I feel like I've just made the worst decision of my life.
Man, I feel like that's really interesting. Like, I feel like, is there marketing that's happening here? Or maybe it's legit too. I don't know. Like, how do you feel about that?
I just know I'm a sucker for credit cards. They got me.
Okay.
I mean, they are influencing my spending, whether I choose to admit it or not. I really believe that. And now I don't think credit cards are bad. Like, they're not morally bad or anything like that.
Right.
I'm kind of waking up to like what's going on. And I'm like, oh, yep, I'm a sucker in the game. And right now I'm okay with it.
Okay. Maybe one day you'll wake up and be like, I'm going to burn them all. Because that's what Jesse's doing. He's doing an experiment where he's just going to try it, Yeah, if you guys haven't listened to the main YNAB podcast, Jesse's been talking about it a lot. And also on Beginning Balance, he's talked about it. He's doing a little experiment where he doesn't use a credit card at all, only uses debit or cash. As for me, I'm kind of chuckling to myself a little bit with Jesse being like, oh yeah, I'm doing this crazy thing where I only use my debit card and it's absolutely bonkers. I'll tell you guys, I've never used a credit card ever in my entire life. Like, I've never had one. I'm 34.
That's cool.
And I'm a little weird. I recognize that I'm a little weird. And lots of folks are like, but Ben, you're missing out on so much stuff. And I mean, it's a personal decision for me. I'm not going to put it on anybody. But like, for me, the whole game is just so icky and weird. I just kind of opted out of it. So, and I've had to do some crazy things. I've had to live different ways with financially. Getting a mortgage was more complicated, because I didn't have a credit score. But when I got a mortgage, I literally had an indeterminable credit score because I had no debt and I had no credit cards, nothing for a while before I applied for a mortgage. So I had to work with a particular mortgage company that would do manual underwriting, where they actually look at my financial situation instead of just putting a bunch of stuff into a computer and saying yes or no, so yeah, there's more complicated, but
that's the thing. I love the simplicity. Today I bought a coffee at Starbucks with cash, and it just felt amazing. Like, I gave him the cash, I'm done. I don't have to think about this again. There's nothing to track. And even a debit card, it's just kind of one swipe and done. Money comes out within 12 hours.
Yeah.
Credit card, it just the transactions hang around, then you have to pay it back. And I mean, YNAB handles it all flawlessly,
Right.
but still, it's it's a little bit more overhead. Anyway.
Yeah. Karen asked, am I using a debit card? Yes, I am using a debit card. Yeah. So I use debit card for everything. Yeah, and so some of my bills are automatically withdrawn from the account, not through the debit card. But yeah, I've never had a problem as far as not being able to do what I want to do. But it has taken a little bit of extra research sometimes. So yeah, and I really think it's interesting, Jesse, talking about the simplicity. Like he's almost like Zen about it. He's like, I just pay for it, and I don't have to like think about how I have to pay for it again later with a credit card payment. And that's all I've known. So I don't know. It's interesting for sure.
All right, I'm glad I had to take that one, Ben.
Oh, sure. Do you have a
All
cash
right, what
account?
else we got?
Oh, okay, that was from before. Yeah, we could talk about cash accounts. I love cash accounts. I think it's the best thing. There's like two ways to handle cash in YNAB, right? Like you can have a category. So whenever you take cash out, it's just an expense, and then you spend the money on whatever you want. You don't track it. Or you can have an account where it's like, I actually have two cash accounts. I have one called Ben Wallet and Caitlin Wallet. So we have our own personal tracking. I actually have three because I have some money like in a cash box at home. It was just really nice. If I ever need cash, I can grab it from there. And I have another account called House Cash, and that just sits there. So
I love my cash account. And I was telling Ben, one of the listener Bens, that the cash that I just spent for the coffee, that was pre cash account cash. So it had already been come out of the budget, and so I didn't need to log anything. Excuse me. But along those lines of cash, because there's two ways to handle a category account, people have been asking about handling gift cards, and that came up in the Facebook post. I think Jennifer was talking about it. So I thought we could just briefly talk about handling gift cards. So the simplest way there is create a category. If you have some sort of reloadable card like Starbucks, right? You just, the money when you preload that card comes out of your coffee category. And then on what you spend on the card, and you don't have to track anything. So
it's like easy. One big transaction at the beginning of the month or whenever you're loaded up, and then you don't worry about it. Yeah, and that's perfect for something like coffee because you've already spent it. You don't need to know exactly when you actually spent the money. But what about like all those like little random credit cards you get like for gifts or not credit cards, gift cards.
Gift cards. You could add them as an account. So then it turns it into ready to assign. And if you're like, well, I'm going to spend this across multiple categories, you could create like a holding category for that gift card money. And then once you spend it, allocate it to the correct categories, and then you log those transactions to those categories.
Right. Okay.
And then I think like there'd be a third option, and maybe this is where you're going.
Yeah.
Just don't do anything.
Just forget about it. That's what I do. I don't track it. Because I feel like most of the time, if you get a gift card, it already has a job because it has to be spent at a certain store, right? So like if I got like a Steam gift card, it'd be gaming, right? It'd be a game I'd be buying because that's what they sell, right? And they also used to sell YNAB, but that's fun, right? I guess you could make an argument like if you had like a Target gift card or like Walmart or something where you could buy across multiple categories, then maybe adding an account for that card. But I just feel like you would end up with lots of random closed accounts, right?
That's the thing. I don't want that.
Yeah, that's just,
so if I were to add it, I would probably add it as a tracking account, keep it out of the budget. Then once I'm done with it, I can just delete it. Don't think about it again.
That's interesting. Okay. Yeah, that way if you want to keep track of it. So I guess it's a question of are you going to reload it? Then maybe just a category for that. If you're going to have multiple transactions on it over a long period of time, maybe a tracking account is a good way to go. So you can keep track of the balance. Because I hate looking up balances on gift cards. You ever do that? You have to like scratch off a thing.
I just did it to figure out how much we have on our movie gift cards.
Yeah,
all this
like
weird
get
number.
A quarter or something. You don't have quarters because like who has quarters? You like scratch off a thing and there's like a mess now, and then you have to type in this long number, You have to find, yeah, it's a whole mess. So yeah, if you just track it, you can just track it yourself. That'd be nice. All right. Oh yeah, this is interesting. Tired mom, frequent live event attendee. Thanks for coming. Is it bad that I have an account for when I lend money for my best friend? I don't think so at all. I think
No, I don't think
that's
so either.
fantastic. You're more clear with your friend. If you're lending money to a friend, I think you need to be super duper clear about who owes what and all that, both of you, and that helps keep track of it really well. So no, I think that's a great way to go. All right, what else? I mean, I feel like there's tons of questions. I need to scroll up a little bit.
That's
here.
the thing, man.
Ask again.
I don't know if I like how YouTube does that. It just, you lose sight of them.
Yeah,
so
you do.
Sorry, folks. Yeah, were you going to tell them to just repost their question?
Repost your question if you want. Yeah, if anything, it increases the engagement. So YouTube's going to show this to more people. So there you go.
Oh, here's a good one.
Keep going.
From Ricky, what's the best financial advice you would give to your 18-year-old self? Go.
Get a budget. Done. Get YNAB. Start a budget.
There you go.
I mean, that's obvious, right?
Well, mine's a little bit different. I would start with, say, 50% of your income, right? Do that, Ernie.
Okay.
Learn to live off 50%, and your 44-year-old self is going to be in a completely different position.
Okay, avoid that kind of lifestyle creep right from the start.
And also, this is kind of what I'm thinking right now with my teenagers. They both just applied for jobs. And so we're already starting to have hey,
so you're actually giving this advice.
Yes,
right
like
yeah,
things are about to get real, guys. You're going to be making some real money here.
Mm-hmm.
Here's some things you can do.
I love that. Yeah, and if you have like a mess to clean up, hopefully not right when you're 18, but if you're getting out of college or something, and you got some student loans you want to get after, continue to live on that lower lifestyle, even when you get the big job or something like that. Clean up the mess, and then you can move on from there. Love it. I think there's a conversation. I don't know what's going on, but I just loved this. Memos are everything. I memo everything. I can't help it. I love memoing things too. I love it.
I just started using memos more in 2023. I don't know what caused that, but I'm liking it.
Yeah. Yesenia is a coach. Good to see you, Yesenia. Do you guys budget vacation time? Or I saw someone using YNAB to budget their pantry items. There's a whole host of any limited resource. You can use YNAB to budget it. I mean, I've seen people budget their time with YNAB. I've seen people, budget their vacation time. Hannah did a video on that not that long ago. Yeah, I haven't ever tried it.
I don't. Nope.
Yeah, I don't do that. But it's a.
I'm a purist. YNAB is for financials.
Money only. It is true, because like when you talk about like managing time, like there's other apps that are better suited for that, because but some people love it, so they do that.
Curious for you to weigh on this one. How do you address budgeting with a partner with uneven incomes? I've been our only income source for the last 4 years, and my fiance just got a new job. That's tricky.
I feel like it's hard when there's a sudden change, like this example. Like for me, my wife and I, when we got married, and we combined finances, my income was way lower than hers for a long time. But we didn't really have a problem with it, because we agreed even before she got her big job after graduating, like we would just consider it all together, and we would make decisions together on all of it. And now my income she still makes a little more than me, but my income has gone up. It's a little closer to hers, so we're a little more equal there. But like I never really give it a thought on her money, my money. Like we don't really think of it that way, because we never have. But if you're having this big change, it can be tough. Yeah. How would you handle that, Ernie?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know how I would speak to this situation, because I'm similar to you and Caitlin, where Christy and I, we've always had combined finances, and we've gone back and forth between who was earning more, but it didn't matter. And I would imagine, if you're the only income, that other partner, I think maybe I would, if I didn't have a job, would feel like, well, what am I bringing to the table? I think that would kind of wear on me over time.
Right.
So maybe just addressing it with a conversation.
Yeah.
Just
I
get
mean, you gotta
everything out
talk
in the
about it.
open, and then let's come to an agreement. How do we want to handle this? Do we want to do 50-50? Do you want to do it proportionately based on incomes? I don't think there's a right or wrong answer on how you actually approach it.
Yeah. And it might be based on your decision might be based a lot on what you've done. In your case, it sounds like you've been with your partner for a while. But your income has just changed. So you might want to say, hey, I actually want to change our arrangement and I want to separate our finances a little more. Or you might say, I'm fine with keeping our finances combined and just considering it all our money and going from there. So yeah, you just got to have a conversation. That's the bottom line. There's no one right answer, really. I've heard a lot of people with uneven incomes will, uh, especially when they have separate accounts in a joint account type situation, they'll uh, split up the shared expenses proportionally based on their income. So if somebody makes like 60% of the income, the other makes 40, then they would pay 60% of the expenses in
Okay.
that way. That might be a tip for you. But yeah, in the end, you just got to talk, work it out. Let's see what else we got here. Actually, should we go to Lily on an email? Because I want to get to the people who sent emails too, because they're loyal
Let's do it.
listeners on the podcast. Lily had a really great question. I'm just going to read her whole email here. She said, "I would love to hear more about how you all fund home maintenance. I know Ben had a lot of projects that he completed last year on his house, and Ernie is always improving his outdoor space. Yes, you are, Ernie. Do
Curse you,
you
snow.
follow? Do you follow the rule of thumb of saving 1% of your home value? Are you setting aside specific projects, even if they're years down the line? And would you consider that part of the 1% rule? If so, where are you actually keeping that money while you work on saving enough of it to actually cover the expense? I know everyone does it differently, but I'm a new homeowner and love to hear how the budgeters handle this kind of thing." I'd also happily take an entire episode on this topic. I think we could take an
We
episode,
totally
episode
could.
on it. Yeah. Well, let's talk about what the 1% rule is. This is a common piece of advice that people say is every year you should save 1% of your home's value on for home maintenance, right? So you're saving that up and
Yep.
you're spending it along the way. What do you think of that, Ernie? Do you think that's good advice? Have you ever done that?
I just heard of this rule.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure with every piece of financial advice, including the stuff from our mouths, there's a grain of a little bit of truth to it. And so I think maybe it's a good starting point,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I'm not going to follow that to a T, and I don't. I was looking through the budget, and I like to have $2,000 available for home maintenance.
Okay.
And that's just kind of what I've settled on after being in the house 2.5 years. That's what I feel like. Okay, if something goes wrong, I have this. So for
Yeah.
me, this is also worth pointing out. There's a distinction between projects that I want to do, that Christy and I want to do, and then the
Mhm.
maintenance. And so kind of like
Yeah.
the hot water heater breaking. We found some moisture in a downstairs bathroom, so we had to have that regrouted, resealed. Those are kind of like emergency situations, and that's what I use the money in the home maintenance category for. And then when there's a special project, like something that doesn't need to be done, but we want to do it, then I save for that separately.
Yeah.
And we save for that throughout the year, has its own separate category. And then when we're done with it, we delete the category and merge it in with home maintenance.
There you go. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I'm always a little averse to percentage-based budgeting because I think people really need it early on because they don't know where to start. But I feel like it's a little bogus because like it depends on your situation. I mean, you could have the exact same house, literally the exact same house in San Francisco, and have the exact same house in Lynchburg, Virginia, where I live. And the I mean, it's gonna be like 20 times more in San Francisco,
Right,
right?
right.
But it's gonna need the same amount of maintenance, So I don't see I guess maybe your income's higher if you live in San Francisco. I don't know. So that could be it. But also or it could be like, oh, I have a house that's really valuable because it's like a historical marker and it's like prestigious in the town, but it's old and it's gonna need a lot more maintenance. And there's like houses in towns where it's like the people that buy it are like taking on like a responsibility for the town, right? Like those houses can be expensive, but they're going to be more. So I don't know. I feel like it's a good place to start. And Lily said she was a first time homeowner, and I get it. You're like grasping at straws. You're like, what do I do? Right.
Just put
So
something.
just put
And
something.
yes,
Yeah. And
you're
feel it
headed
out.
down the right path.
I just kind of feel it out. So I have a monthly savings builder goal. I just set aside $75 a month, which actually feels kind of low, but it's worked. Um, and that's just for things that are breaking and I need help fixing it, or I need to buy stuff to fix it. So, like the front door or storm door on the front, all the screws fell out of the hinges and it was falling apart. Right. I actually saved $400 to buy a new storm door, but then I actually hired somebody to come help me and take a look at it. And he was like, "Oh, I can drill out new holes on this and we can save this door." So I just use home maintenance on that. So yeah, I use home maintenance for that. And I just kind of eyeball it. Like if I feel like it's lagging down, I'll increase that target. And if I feel like it's too much, I'll lower the target until I kind of find a sweet spot and hang out there.
I
And then
use the
for projects, I save up separately.
Okay. I use the savings balance without a date. So I put the $2,000 and then anytime I use that money, right, I fall beneath that threshold and then I'm
So you get the
prompted to put
reminder.
more in. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
so,
like that.
yeah, now we're actually way down because we spent, I think, $1,400 on that bathroom repair that I wasn't planning for. So
that's what it's there for, right? So still stinks though.
that's the thing. I'm like, yes, that's what it's there for, but I don't want to spend it.
I totally know what you mean. I mean, it's funny because you still feel the pain when you have these problems, but you're not in a crisis, so that's the key. But yeah, and then like sometimes, so like I feel like there's three things here. There's unexpected things like that you went through. There's also projects that are like, I want to redecorate this whole room and like get new carpet. Like that's more of like I actually have a home projects category. I'll save money in there, or I'll save money separately for those big things. And then there's like maintenance that I can see coming but I don't need to take care of right now.
Like a new roof.
Yeah, like a new roof. I'll save separately for that.
Yep.
Or something smaller, like at some point I'm going to need to replace the storm door because it's messed up, right?
Yep.
So we saved for that. Didn't end up needing to use it. Sweet. That's great. So yeah, I'll do a little of both, but always putting something aside helps for me. Oh man, that's a great question. We could just do a whole episode on that. Easy.
Seriously, maybe we will. All right, what else we got here?
I want to check the comments. They've been coming in. I've just been yapping. Yeah, Elijah said I have a home group category and a few subcategories. Yeah, Elijah says 1% good for maintenance or for paying the deductible. Oh, that's interesting. If you have like a home insurance thing, I think the idea of that is more for maintenance. It's just a rule of thumb. I think it is a good idea to if you have no idea how much you need to set aside, maybe the 1% rule could be a good place for you to start.
So many good questions. It pains me that we're going to be leaving out some really good questions here.
Well, I'm pleased because I didn't think you guys would. I was like, oh man, are we gonna have enough questions? Like, oh man, are we gonna be sitting here staring at each other? But no, we got more than we need. It's great. Yeah, Amber, we talked about this a little bit earlier. How do you keep rolling with it from turning into expense tracking instead of budgeting? Yeah, like how do you not abuse rule 3, right? Rolling with the punches. Yeah, I think we talked about it earlier. The key is following rule 1, give every dollar job. Don't leave money hanging out and ready to assign, or even in like a large category that doesn't have any purpose. And then 2, check the money or check the budget before you spend. Always check the budget before you spend and get in that habit. And that helps you at least make the decision. You could say no if you don't have enough money, or you can say, I'm going to look through my budget and I'm going to move some money first, find the money first before you actually spend it. And then you know what you're giving up. So that's the key right there.
I just found something that really helps with me. And this was unexpected. And it came in the groceries category. So for years, I've been using the needed for spending weekly target. So I need X amount of dollars for groceries every single week. And by weeks 3 and 4, and sometimes that 5th week of the month, constantly overspending.
Hmm.
I mean, and so I'm
Yeah.
like, this just isn't working. And so now I just don't have targets. And all I do is the average spent amount.
That's so interesting. I love
Average
that.
spent over the past 12
That's a
months. I
rolling
click it,
12-month average, right?
rolling 12-month average. And oh my goodness, it has been so nice in January and February. And basically, what it caused me to do is just be more honest about the grocery situation. Like my
Right.
weekly goal was not working.
That's especially good for now when the prices are just all over the dang place, you know? Um, it's almost like a negotiation with reality and what you want, you know, because you still have the information from 12 months ago that's into that plays into that number, which might be a little lower, but you also have the information from last month, which might be a little
Yep.
higher. So, yeah, I like that.
And the weekly target just wasn't working, I realized, because, usually at the beginning of the month, I buy a ton of drinks for the whole family. I'm buying my beer, I'm buying Polars or, sparkling water for the boys, soda for Christy. That's a big lump sum of beverages at the beginning of the month, but it takes a good chunk of that weekly amount. And I don't know. So I love this average spend approach.
Yeah. It's in a little comment for Kyle there. Um, I kind of like this question. This is a bit of a change. Somebody asked, let me figure out find it. Yeah, what upcoming topics do you have for Budget Nerds? What are we planning, Ernie? I'm gonna pull up
So
our schedule here.
the one after this is, can I afford this?
Yes, we already recorded that.
And then we're going to be talking about the various YNAB communities across the internet.
That'd be fun.
And I forgot the ones after that.
Yeah, I'm not sure we have anything.
We do. We have 5 more topics after that. We've
Oh
got
yes,
7 slated.
oh yes, we don't have them on the in progress thing here, so so I don't see it. But yeah, I forgot. Yeah, we have a bunch of planned, and then next week I think
Oh,
we have another planning session with
we're
Ashley.
going through our categories. We're going to share our
Oh
categories
yeah,
because so much has changed.
we did that like probably close to like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. So we're gonna have one whole episode where Ernie's just gonna go through all his categories, and we have a whole other episode where I'm gonna go through all my categories, and we're just gonna talk about them, talk about how we feel about them. That'll be fun. Talk about the emojis that we use. So there we go.
All right. All right. Here's a good one from Shanna or Shayna. One of those. Apologize.
Alrighty.
What is the one thing you wish you had known about budgeting when you started your YNAB journey? And this came from the Facebook fans group.
Oh, so many things. I'll let you go first, Ernie, because my mind is swirling right now with so many things.
I had a tough time finding one thing that I wish I had known. So I kind of landed on this. Maybe it's a cop out, but what I really appreciated, and Jesse said this all the time. I don't know if we say it as much anymore, but forget everything you've ever known about budgeting. Do you remember him saying that?
Yes.
And because YNAB is so different. And so I heard that
So good.
and I was a budget nerd beforehand, right? I had my spreadsheets. I used Quicken. I used some other, platforms. So I knew budgeting, I thought. I just didn't know the YNAB way. And so when I came into YNAB, things just did not make sense. But hearing that over and over, like just give up those previous methods or systems and just entertain the YNAB way and see how it goes.
Just really give it a try.
Yes.
So many people come in with a preconceived system that might be working for them, but might just be a lot of work or something like that. So yeah, if you come in with this preconceived thing and try to cram it into YNAB, I mean, we make opinionated software. Like we do. Like we have an opinion about how you should manage your money, and it's our method, and we're not apologizing for that because it works, So if you try to cram something else in there, it can be tricky and difficult. That's really
that's
good
the
advice.
thing. I was willing to keep going and abandoning all my previous beliefs because I did see, hey, this is working. So my other systems weren't. I'm all in.
Yeah, I like that. If I had done that, I might not have ever used YNAB because when I first opened up YNAB and started looking into it, I thought it was super dumb. I was like, this only budgeting money you have thing. I just thought that was crazy. And I wrote it off right away off the bat. It wasn't until my wife actually like read the website to really understand why. She convinced me to really give it a go, and we did.
Okay.
Once I started doing that, I actually loved it. So yeah, jump in. Oh, Tammy says I love an episode where you brought Ashley on. Okay, okay. I love to see that. Ashley, you want to come on to Budget Nerds? Like, why haven't we done this?
Ashley's got to be watching, right?
Oh, of course she's actually. I think she's been commenting.
We
Yes, she
need to
has.
have Ashley on.
Ashley, you got to come on. Okay, we have a planning session with Ashley next week, and yeah, we should plan one where she's going to come and join us. That'd be fun. Now that we've said it, we have to do it.
Exactly. I can't even watch Ashley's TikToks because her home is so beautiful. And I'm like, I mean, that's what I want. You know, I'm a neat freak. I like organization, and I have 3 teenage boys, and they do not like any of that stuff. And so it's just like a war zone. So yeah, I can't
it's the opposite of that.
I'm like, oh, someday I will have that.
Oh man, sorry, I have a bit of a cold, so I need to blow my nose there.
Yeah, let's take a stab at this one.
Okay,
because it's a little bit similar to what we were just talking about. How does YNAB differ from Dave Ramsey's EveryDollar? I've only been using YNAB, so I often wonder. And you could put in any other budgeting platform out there, you know, Mint, you know, whatever the case may be. I mean, I think the big idea is YNAB is more proactive.
Yeah.
You know, you're only working with the money that you have right now, and you're making a plan for those dollars before you actually spend them. And what I love about YNAB so much is I can open it up, and I know that all the money that I see in YNAB is the exact amount of money that I would be seeing at my bank, right? So I'm working with real dollars. I'm not working with forecasted paychecks that are, you know, 2 or 4 weeks away.
Yeah. Yeah. EveryDollar uses forecasting, where you put in your expected income at the top and then budget that out. So you do, you know, plan your money. It's pretty similar in some ways, but that key difference where you only work with the money that you have when you use YNAB, it just brings all your priorities to light, because you realize, oh, I actually have a scarce resource here. It can't do everything, and I'm gonna have to make choices, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas if you just always imagine more money, you kind of lose that clarity. And also, when you're, like you said, Ernie, when you look at that grocery category, you don't have to worry about your account balance. You don't have to worry about anything, because you know that is real money that actually exists. And it's huge. I'm actually really surprised Dave Ramsey's EveryDollar didn't do the more cash envelope methodology like we do, because he's like the OG cash envelope dude.
Right.
You know,
he totally is.
He was always like he sells like these wallets or something, you know, where you put cash into places, which I think is a great method too. Well, I think it's a great method in principle, but who wants to use cash? Like, oh gosh, it's a flipping nightmare, you know.
I tried.
You go to the grocery store, you forgot your envelope at home, and like, it's a mess. So
it was a total mess.
So what YNAB has done is just taken that concept and digitized it. So I'm surprised they didn't go that route from the beginning, but I don't know, maybe we'll come around. I remember Jesse said at one point, you know, he was talking about Mint and EveryDollar and YNAB, and he felt like Mint was like the odd man out. Like EveryDollar and YNAB, like I feel like, I think what Jesse said was, if somebody goes with EveryDollar instead of YNAB, I feel like it's a net win for budgeting. Right?
Sure.
Like, it's not quite as good as, it's not like the principles aren't quite there as much as I'd like, but like, you're gonna be all right, you know. But he was like, I'll take as many customers from Intuit as I want, as I can. There you go. Oh man. Oh, this is interesting. Jared, so we are having a baby. Congratulations, Jared.
Awesome.
Do I stop my 401k investing to save up money as we wait for the baby to arrive? That's a really good question. I think it's going to depend on your situation. I don't think there's anything wrong with pausing the investing for 9 months here. You know, you have a really big life change coming.
Yeah.
Really big. I assume it sounds like this is your first baby, since it's like the way you asked it. I think that sounds like maybe it's your first, and so your whole life's going to change. So it would be really nice to have like a gigantic pile of money hanging out. So if you want to pause your goals until the baby arrives, like that could include paying down debt, saving. I think that's a probably a good idea, especially if you're a little anxious. Like just push pause, and then when baby comes home and everybody's good and healthy, and the hospital works out how much you have to pay them and does all the refunds, and oh my gosh, it's so crazy. When everything settles down, you can always reach over and put a bunch of that money into the 401k again if you don't need to spend it. So yeah, I think that's probably a good idea.
On the flip side, I paused my 401 contributions in the early stages of debt pay down, and it's one of the biggest financial regrets I have.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because time is such a huge component,
Totally.
in that, 401 in the investing equation. And the other thing is I missed out on some free money. We had a 3% match. This was at a different company.
That's tough.
And
yeah.
I missed out on that 3% of free money. And so, I'm definitely not opposed to, looking back, if I could redo it, I would have lowered contributions, but not cut it off altogether.
Okay. That's good advice. Yeah. So consider both, both the pros and cons of that. I think this is a little different because it's going to be a very clear amount of time, until you get back. But be sure you get back to it when baby's settled at home and everything. And like I said, if you have a big chunk of money because you've paused these goals and you pause investing, you can always undo it by chucking that money back in the 401k once you feel like you're settled and you don't need it for anything else.
Well, and thinking back too, I was reading all the personal finance blogs at that stage of my life, and I was convinced I was going to get out of debt in 8 months. So
right.
10 years later, I finally did. But so
yeah, so much of that.
It didn't take me long to realize, I got to get back in the investing game because this is going to be a long, long time.
Yeah, so much of that question depends on how long you're going to be pausing it. I mean, if you're pausing it for 6 months, like and you're young, that's not that big a deal, well, I say that because the younger you are, the bigger deal it could be because that money goes, but you're going to be able to catch up later. But if you're looking at like a 10-year debt pay down, I wouldn't stop.
Yeah. So, all right, let's keep the investing train going here. Any planned episodes on investing? Would be cool to hear your thoughts on investing percentage and focusing on paying off mortgage versus investing more.
What do you think, Ernie? Episode on that?
Oh, we definitely should be. I mean, I think a lot of folks tell us, hey, let's talk a little bit more about building wealth, because YNAB could definitely help with that. We just get so nerdy about the, the nuances.
Sometimes I feel like a lot of our marketing is focused on getting out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle, like a lot of the early stuff. But YNAB's really a wealth building tool, not just a get your feet under you tool. you know. So I think we could talk about that. I think I could do a whole episode on paying off the mortgage versus investing more. So because I had to make that decision myself. So yeah, there's a lot there. Let's see what else we got. Can we get more lives, please? You like this? You could do this more.
I like this because there's no editing, right?
Right.
Run the camera.
A little behind the scenes. Ernie does all the editing. I'm just basically just get off scot-free here. Although it didn't used to be that way. I went on paternity leave for 4 weeks, and then we came back, and you were like, Ben, I can handle this. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, we just kept passing stuff back and forth.
It was
like, yeah, I'll just take it.
Yeah, like I would do a pass at the editing, and then Ernie would do a first pass. I'd do another pass. It was just.
And then when we needed screen shares, I would tap on your shoulder.
Yeah, it was too much. So I'm happy for you to just do it, Ernie. Tammy says it's a short answer for investing versus mortgage pay down. Why not both? Definitely both is good, because if you're working on a mortgage pay down, it's probably going to be a while. So I wouldn't want to pause investing again, it comes down to like, how long is it going to take you? Like if you could reach over and knock out your mortgage, if you have like maybe you just have a fabulous income and a low mortgage, and you could reach over and knock out that mortgage in 5-6 months,
Yeah.
maybe pausing investing would be a good idea. But if it's going to be a long slog, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, no, I would definitely wouldn't pause investing during
And
that
that's
time.
why I think I stopped paying extra on the mortgage. I was paying such a small amount, and there just wasn't enough margin in the budget to throw just a boatload of cash towards the mortgage every single month. So I'm like, my investing, I'm really happy with that percentage, right? And I feel like
Mhm.
I'm gaining traction there, gaining a lot of ground. And so let's keep gaining momentum over there instead of maybe taking and trying to build up this, mortgage pay down from basically build it from scratch.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of it comes down to your emotions too. Like a lot of folks ask, should I pay off debt first, or should I, I mean, there's so many of these questions, like, should I pay off debt? Should I, versus getting ahead or building an emergency fund? And a lot of it depends on your priorities, like what's bothering you the most, focus on that. Ooh, this is a good question. What would you say to a friend who claims, I don't make enough to budget? This is really interesting because a lot of folks feel like, well, whenever I get paid, the money is just gone instantly. So what's the point of writing that down? Like I already know that my income is equal to my expenses. Man, I think that I think if you can tell your own story, that might help a lot. Say like, well, I mean, I felt that way too, but this is what I found. I don't know. What do you think about this, Ernie?
Yeah, that's a tough one because, if they have this, I mean, they're probably already budgeting in their brain, right? They
Mhm.
have some sort of system in place because they recognize the
Totally.
scarcity around their finite resources. And so they know what it has to do. And so, if I'm in the right frame of mind, maybe listening, hey, well, what's your current approach? And, see if there's something that budgeting could help them with a little bit, up their game, level them up a little bit.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, and if anything, it just gets all that information out of their head. Like it might not necessarily be like, oh, I have, because it could be true that like their income is lower than they want it to be right now, and it's going to be tough to get ahead. 'Cause maybe they really do live on nothing, right? But at the very least, like if you get organized with it, it gives you tremendous peace of mind because you get all of this mental math out of your head and you
Mm-hmm.
get it on paper, and you can actually start making decisions. You kind of take a step back from everything, and you kind of make better decisions that way. So I tell them to give it a try. I mean, it's free for 34 days at the very least.
How do y'all determine what are reasonable spending and saving targets? Do you use any other tools like spreadsheet or some system in YNAB? So Nick, when I first started YNAB, I did use a spreadsheet because I was at that point, I was kind of dialing in how much we spend on groceries and household items and things like that. And so the spreadsheet was helpful because it helped me match to a penny the total of the targets to my expected income. But then once I started dialing things in a little bit, I ditched the spreadsheet, and now I don't even have targets on all my categories. I'm using that average spent info to tell me what I need to put in the category for this month.
Yeah, I think that's good. Lots of folks talking about housing market craziness. Love to see that. That's wild.
My realtor contacted me, sent a text to the other day. Hey, your house has gone up $100,000 in value. Are you interested in selling? Like, hey,
Wow.
that's great, but then I would have to buy another house.
Yeah. Like, what's the point? Like, what are you gonna do? So you're interested in selling? Like, okay, I guess. Yeah, I hear you.
uh,
Although your boys are getting older though, so I don't know. Maybe when you're empty nesters here, I don't know how long. How
and
old's your youngest
that's
now?
exactly what I told her too. I said, well, right now I don't want to move, but hey, you know, things might change here in 5 years. The youngest is 14, so he's got
Okay,
high school next year.
yeah. Maybe you want to downsize later on. Who knows?
He's convinced he's going to live with us his entire life, though.
Oh man, yeah. I feel like at 14, that's how you might feel, but give it 2 years, you're not going to feel that way very much longer.
This is funny. He actually talked to me about paying him a good salary to just do household chores. Like he was looking for a way to make $40,000 after high school, living here, taking out the garbage, mowing the lawn.
So
I'm
what
like,
does you think
buddy,
you are?
that's not how it works.
You're like, and if I were to do that, I would hire somebody competent. like if you're gonna hire like a live-in house homemaker, like you wouldn't hire your son, probably.
Okay, this is fun.
Okay, I love that.
What's your YNAB elevator pitch?
Oh man, you go first, Ernie.
I don't have one. I'm just not. I don't know. I don't know if I'm awkward or just I'm shy. I don't know what it is, but like I don't pitch YNAB to people. I'm a slow player, slow roller.
I'm kind of the same way, Ernie. Like
I just let it happen organically.
When I'm talking to real friends in real life, like I'll tell them where I work and like they'll know. And some people have like come to me and I've helped them set up but yeah, I don't really make a pitch in person. It's just not I feel like it's hard because you have to be ready for it to stick for you, you know? Like if I gave somebody a hard sell, and they weren't ready for it, like it's just not going to work, you know? I've had family members who I've wanted to get on a budget for years and like I've talked to them about it and they've just not been interested until like years down the road when something happens, like there's like an event in their life. Usually, where they like, oh, I need a budget. Like I need to get organized, you know? So I don't know. I'm not too interested in that. Now, if I'm talking to somebody and telling them about my job and they're like super interested and they're like nodding their head, I might go off, you know?
Right. Right.
But I don't know. I don't really think I have an elevator pitch. If I had to, I think I would say it's just a way to organize your money so you get it out of your head and you make better decisions because you're a little bit further away from your spending.
Share a lot of personal stories.
Yeah, and gives you tons of peace of mind. That's I would lean into the getting information out of your head and the peace of mind more than anything, I think.
I took that approach with some friends. The topic of money budgeting came up, so I kind of sharing some stories, asking them questions. They got interested, and I think I had them on a trial, and then I followed up with a text and was basically ghosted.
Okay, if they're not ready, they're not ready. It's okay. Sorry, do you work for YNAB? You sell wine through an app? I have had tons of people actually think this. Like you look at me, like I'm not like some sommelier here, like I don't know anything about wine. I remember when I first applied for YNAB, I was so excited to apply. I applied for a part-time teacher role back in 2016, and I was telling some of my friends that we hung out regularly, like once a week, and I would talk about the process because it was a long process to do all the interviews and everything, and I just talk about it. And like 3 weeks into me being in this interview process, one of my friends was like, "Okay, this whole time I thought you said YNAB," and they were so confused. Oh, it's really funny. Oh man. All right, let me see what else we got here. Oh, I'm sure there's tons of questions above I need to find, but I'm just trying to look through them. There's some technical questions I see. You might want to reach out to support about those. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm having trouble finding particular questions. So why don't we go to some of these other questions that we have?
I'll take the one from Kelly here.
Yeah, I like that.
The best way to start with YNAB and how to really understand it and put it into practice.
Okay. Here's what I like to say. There's 3 approaches. Are you a reader? Are you a video watcher? Or or do you want to talk to somebody, right? So if you're a reader and you want to just read all about YNAB, go to our site. We have awesome information. We have the Ultimate Get Started Guide, which is just all reading, and it's really great. We have support documents that go over like the nuts and bolts of managing the software. And we've got the guides, which go over all the rules, and they go over, they just talk about all the principles of the YNAB method. And then for videos, I mean, I send people to the playlist, the Getting Started playlist all the time. If you go to our YouTube channel, we have a Get Started playlist. That's a great place to learn. And then if you need to talk to somebody, go talk to Ernie. Live Q&As.
Come to one of my workshops.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you could ask him anything. You can't stump him. So
well, you definitely can stump me. I've been stumped.
Yeah. Well, it is nice when you're a teacher. We have the backup of a really great support team. So if you have like a really technical question or something that you don't know the answer to, you can be like,
I punt.
Let's punt. And the buck stops with them, so they're going to answer the question. So that always helps.
But yeah, we do the live workshops Monday through Friday. So that's a really good option. And what was helpful for me is getting into YNAB every single day and doing something. I mean, that is huge. I mean, it makes it less overwhelming, especially as on the transaction management side of things. So I think getting in there and just working with the app, you're not going to break anything, right? And if you screw something up, you can make a brand new budget. There's no big deal. You can make as many new budgets as you want. And I think that's actually really helpful. You learn a better way. I'm going to start a new budget. I'm going to start implementing that new way right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Kelly asked the best way to start. I think consuming those materials is the best way to start. And then as far as putting it into practice, get in there every day. I don't care if you just open up YNAB and stare at it for a while, just do that. Like, just kind of let the budget kind of become a part of you. Check the budget before you spend, maybe just look at it for a few minutes every day, reconcile some accounts, just get in there and be in there and do it every day. And it'll start to become a part of your life.
And maybe it'd be helpful to stack YNAB onto some already established habit, coffee in the morning, put the kids down at night, whatever the case may be. And then right after you do that thing, or while you're doing that thing, open up YNAB in 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
There you go. Well, Ernie, we're coming up on the hour here. Should we wrap it up?
That went fast.
It sure did. I mean, I'm sorry there's like a million awesome questions that we have not gotten to, but we'll be coming back to this. Maybe we'll do a whole episode on some of these because there's definitely a ton. Do you want to wrap it up, or is there anything else you want to say, Ernie?
There's nothing else I want to say. What do you want me to do to wrap it up? Song and dance or a poem?
Sure. Yeah. I'll just say that. I feel like we should do, we have a podcast, at the end of podcasts, they do like credits, and be like, oh, the music's from this. And I feel like we should do that because like Ashley, Ashley's a huge part of this podcast, y'all. I don't know if you didn't know you knew this, but like she keeps us on track, and she helps us with topics, which is sometimes the hardest part, just coming up with ideas to talk about. Right. And she's just a huge support. So shout out to Ashley. Thanks for making this happen, Ashley.
Thanks, Ashley.
And I mean, we could talk about Trent, who does the editing for the podcast, not the video, the podcast. I mean, there's, maybe we should come up with a little spiel at the end of for like credits, so we could talk about that.
That's a good idea. And then Tristan and his animations, he did the intro, he did the YNAB wins. Did he do the YNAB wins? Yeah, I think he did the YNAB wins too.
Mm-hmm. He did. Yep.
And
viewers like you,
the thumbnails. Who did the thumbnails? Lauren.
Yeah.
Right.
So many people behind us, man. It's been a wild ride past 2.5 years or so going on. So, man, so grateful for all of you, this community we've created together. Yeah. Oh gosh, I'm just getting all these warm fuzzies now. Thank you all. Looking forward to the next episode on the question of, can I afford this? Coming up in 2 weeks. Check that out. And if you have any questions, you can comment on this video or send us an email at budgetnerds@youneedtobudget.com, and we'll be happy to get back to you.
All right. And as always, happy budgeting.
Happy budgeting.
See you, friends.